What if I told you that India and the European Union are about to seal one of the biggest free trade agreements in history? A deal that could shift global trade, impact billions of dollars, and even reshape relations with the US. Sounds massive, right? Well, stick around, because this isn't just another trade agreement. This is a game changer that could redefine economies, industries, and even geopolitics. So, here's the deal. India and the European Union have been negotiating a free trade agreement, FTA, for nearly 2 decades. Talks started way back in 2007, but kept running into roadblocks, market access, regulations, and geopolitical shifts. But now, things have changed. After their latest meeting, Modi and von der Leyen have officially decided to finalize the agreement by the end of this year. But why is this happening now? Why is this deal suddenly a top priority for both sides? The EU is already India's largest trading partner, yes, even bigger than the US and China. In the 2023-24 fiscal year, trade between India and the EU crossed $130 billion, a whopping 90% increase over the last decade. And over 6,000 European companies are currently operating in India, investing across industries like technology, pharmaceuticals, renewable energy, and manufacturing. But here's where things get even more interesting. This trade deal isn't just about numbers, it's about power, influence, and strategic alliances. The world is shifting. The US is increasingly focusing on its own domestic economy, and China's aggressive trade policies have left many countries looking for new partners. The EU sees India as a key player in the global economy, while India wants to expand its economic footprint and diversify its trade relations. Now, let's get into the real meat of this agreement. What's in the India-EU free trade deal? The FTA will focus on 4 major areas: trade, technology, connectivity, and defense cooperation. Let's break them down one by one. 1. Market access and tariff reductions. One of the biggest hurdles in past negotiations was market access. European companies want easier entry into India's markets, especially in sectors like automobiles, alcoholic beverages, and high-end luxury goods. If this deal goes through, you could soon see more European cars like BMW, Mercedes, and Volkswagen on Indian roads at lower prices. Fancy a glass of premium European wine? It could get much cheaper after this deal. On the flip side, India wants better access to European markets for its pharmaceuticals, textiles, and IT services. Indian pharma companies are among the world's largest exporters, but strict EU regulations have made it tough for them to compete. This deal could open doors for Indian medicines in European markets, reducing costs and increasing competition. 2. Technology and digital economy. In today's world, trade isn't just about goods, it's about data, innovation, and digital partnerships. Europe is a leader in AI, cybersecurity, and digital infrastructure, while India has one of the fastest-growing startup ecosystems in the world. This deal could lead to major investments in India's digital economy, including funding for AI-driven startups, tech research, and cross-border innovation projects. And here's a question: how often do you worry about data privacy? With growing concerns over data security, India and the EU are also discussing data protection laws that could set global standards. Imagine a world where Indian and European tech companies collaborate to create secure, cutting-edge digital solutions. 3. Connectivity and infrastructure investments. Another major aspect of this deal is infrastructure and connectivity. The EU is already working with India on projects like smart cities, renewable energy, and transportation networks. With this agreement, expect massive investments in India's 5G networks, green energy initiatives, and high-speed rail projects. Just last year, India signed a deal with Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland, the European Free Trade Association, committing $100 billion in investments across multiple industries. If this new India-EU deal goes through, we could see even bigger investments pouring in from European businesses. 4. Defense and strategic cooperation. Now, let's talk defense. With rising global tensions, whether it's in the Indo-Pacific, Eastern Europe, or the Middle East, India and the EU are strengthening their military and strategic cooperation. The EU sees India as a key player in maintaining regional security, while India is looking to expand its defense partnerships beyond just the US and Russia. This deal could lead to joint defense projects, advanced technology sharing, and military collaborations. Imagine an India where European defense technology meets Indian innovation. That could be a huge boost for India's military capabilities. Why now? What's the urgency? Here's where things get really interesting. Just as India and the EU are speeding up trade talks, the United States is planning to impose major tariffs on European goods. Yes, Donald Trump has already hinted at a 25% tariff on EU imports. This means that if the EU doesn't find alternative markets quickly, it could face huge economic losses. And guess who's the perfect alternative trade partner? India. For India, this trade deal is crucial for another reason. Trump has also suggested imposing tariffs on Indian goods if he returns to power. So, India needs stronger trade alliances with the EU to ensure that it's not left vulnerable to US trade policies. Challenges and roadblocks. Will the deal really happen? Now, before we get too excited, let's talk about the challenges. Trade deals take time, and this one is no exception. While both sides are pushing for a UN deadline, there are still several roadblocks. Regulatory hurdles. The EU has strict quality standards that Indian exporters must meet. Negotiations are still ongoing about how these regulations will be adjusted. Political uncertainty. Elections are coming up in multiple countries, and a change in leadership could shift priorities. If a new government takes power in India or any key EU nation, the deal could face delays. US influence. If the US decides to pressure India or the EU, things could get complicated. Would India risk its relationship with the US for a stronger EU partnership? That's a tough question. What this means for you. But let's bring this back to you, the viewer. How will this deal impact your life? More affordable European products in India, think cars, electronics, and luxury goods. Indian exports booming, creating more jobs and economic growth. Massive investments in India's tech and infrastructure sectors, leading to better digital services and smart city projects. Stronger India-EU geopolitical ties, reducing dependency on any single trade partner. What do you think? Will this deal finally happen? So, the big question, will India and the EU finalize this deal by the end of the year? Or will political and economic roadblocks slow it down once again? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown insightful, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we'll be following this story closely. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.